Hi everyone. So welcome to the live stream today. Really excited for having you joining me on the live stream. And we are in the week 6 of our discussion. And we are really in week 6 in our discussion for the July 2023 examination. It means that we have 6 more weeks to go for the examination, and I believe that you have been studying and following the content releases that we have been making on the channel, and they have been helpful for you depending on the topics that we received from you guys. And I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video and also share the video. Let's reach as many students as possible watching the playback as well as the live lectures. But this is a special Q&A session. What it means is that I'm going to be taking questions from you. So anything that you have that you would want me to share my thought on, questions that you want me to have, irrespective of the area that is in, I'm going to try as much as possible. As far as I have an answer for you, I will be able to provide you with some answers in trying to address your question. So let me know in the comment section, in the chat box. Let me hear from you. What questions do you have for me? What are some of the things you would want me to share my thought on? What are the challenges that you are facing that you would want me to provide you with some assistance with, so you can really prepare well to pass the examination? Remember that you can also download our mobile application, the Inshira Premium mobile application, on the Google Play Store and the App Store, because in the application you're going to be getting access to all our contents that will enable you to really prepare well for the examination, personal development, finance, and other things exclusively available in the application. So make sure, in case you have not downloaded it, you download the application and start using it, so you can really position yourself to become more successful as you draw nearer to your goals and your objectives. So week 6, how far has the journey been? What are you expected to have done so far? And what are the things that you are supposed to have focused on, put yourself in the position with, so that you can really become successful? Generally, if you are going to be sitting for the July 2023 examination, then it means that a couple of things you have to have taken into consideration. And it means that at this point, there are a number of things that you have covered based on certain subjects that you are writing. All of that things being equal, it means that by now you should have done about 50% of what is going to be asked in the exam hall. Remember, I didn't say 50% of the syllabus. I said 50% of what is going to be happening, or that examiner is going to be asking you in the exam hall. The reason why that is important is that positioning you to really pass the examination depends on your ability to be able to understand exactly what is going to be asked by the examiner in the exam hall. So knowing the subject you are writing, knowing the structure of the examination, and knowing the structure of the syllabus actually position you so that you can really have a steady plan that enables you to be able to actually pass the examination. And I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give me a thumbs up on the video. Make sure you share the video. Let's reach as many students as possible, many viewers as possible. But also, it's a live Q&A session. So in the comment section or the chat box, let me hear from you. What questions do you have for me? Some things you would want me to share my thought on, put them in the comment section for me or the chat box. I will really be excited to provide you with some answers so that you can prepare well for the examination. Now, I'm going to bring up my screen quickly as we begin to talk about a few issues and get excited into our discussion as well for the day. Now, for those of you doing financial reporting and corporate reporting, if you have been following the channel, we have released released, I think, a 2-part video on IAS 33, that is earnings per share, one basic accounting standard that you need to understand going into the exam for if you are writing financial reporting and corporate reporting. Not only that, we have also released a 2-part video on IFRS 15, that is revenue from contract with customers, as well on the channel. So in case you missed any of those sessions, make sure that you can check the channel, and then you'll be able to get access to these contents so you can really pass the examination. Betola Aristide, I don't know if I mentioned that well though. Ejema for Emmanuel Tufor and Ochim Michael. Thank you very much for the likes and the engagement on Facebook. And then also for those of you on YouTube with us, thank you very much. If there are any questions, put it in the comment section for me, in the chat for me. It's a live Q&A session. I want to come in here and then answer some questions that you will be having as you prepare yourself for the examination. So it's a live Q&A session. I really want to hear from you and see what things that you would want me to share my thought on something you are studying that you want some clarity on. I would really be glad to be able to provide you with some blueprints and some assistance so you can really be able to understand and ultimately pass the examination. Now, so 6 more weeks to go in the ICA July 2023 examination. It means that by now there are a couple of things that you have to, or you should have, covered, focused on, build your strength on to be able to position you to pass the examination at the end of the day. Now, no matter the subject that you are writing, there are a couple of things that you have to always pay attention to structure yourselves so you can actually pass the examination. So in the next 6 weeks, it means you have to design a study plan that enables you to actually drive yourself home at the end of the day. Now, let's say that you are writing whatever subjects. Let's say management accounting. If you are writing management accounting, all other things being equal, at this point that we have crossed 6 weeks, it means that you need to be solid in the following issues, like accounting for overheads. Like no negotiation, you are solid, you understand everything relating to these particular topics. Not only that, absorption costing, that's under overheads though, but I'm just bringing it up. Let me put this one like this. Cost classification rather. Absorption costing, marginal costing, activity-based costing. If you're a management accounting student, these topics are the basics, okay? The fundamentals that you must know in order for you to pass the management accounting examination. The basics. You cannot overemphasize this. Why is it important? Because if you come to a huge aspect of the syllabus, which is short-term decisions, and there are various types of short-term decisions that the examiner is going to be asking us in the exam hall that you have to be mindful of, whether you like it or not. We have what we call the break-even analysis. We have the throughput accounting. We have the limiting factor analysis. We have the make or buy principle. We have the relevant cost analysis there. We have the pricing decisions. We have the outsourcing decisions. All these are short-term decisions. Now, in order for you to be able to actually deal with these things very well, with the exception of the throughput accounting, you would have to have a solid understanding of the marginal costing principle. Because it is the marginal costing principle that becomes the basic knowledge or the basic principle that we will be applying when we are dealing with the break-even analysis. Calculate the break-even point in units, break-even point in value. Dealing with relevant costing analysis, what should we consider as the relevant cost, as an irrelevant cost? What should we include in the determination of the minimum price that a customer can be charged for a service or a contract at the end of the day? We have to use the marginal costing principle. We have limiting factor. The entity is having limited resources that it can get access to generally at the end of the day. But how can the entity use these limited resources in order for it to maximize its contribution or maximize its profit? We are going to be using the marginal costing principle. So if you're a management accounting student, by now, you should be able to deal with everything about cost classification. You should be solid on absorption costing, know how to deal with over absorption, under absorption. Marginal costing principle, you should be able to understand it. No negotiable. Activity-based costing, you should know how to determine the cost drivers and their respective cost pool, because that is what will help you to be able to calculate the overhead absorption rate or the overhead recovery rate, so then you can allocate the cost to the various products or activities that the entity is undertaking based on the cost drivers that they undertook for the period under review. So that is the idea fundamentally. Then if you come to the second category, that is going to be even investment appraisal techniques. Investment appraisal techniques. Right, I see some of you guys joining. You are welcome. Give us a thumbs up on the video. But most importantly, it's a live Q&A session as well. So if there is any questions that you have, something you want me to share my thought on, don't hesitate. Put it in the comment section for me. Put it in the chat. I will really be excited to provide you with some answers in that case. So put in the comment section for me or the chat box. Let me hear from you what questions you have for me and what you would want me to share my thought on to assist you so you can really position yourself to pass the examination and most importantly become successful. If you come to investment appraisal, even investment appraisal, you are going to be applying the marginal costing principle. Even in investment appraisal, you're going to be applying the marginal costing principle. You're going to be applying the marginal costing principle. Why? Because in investment appraisal, you're going to be determining what is the relevant cash flows that must be included when you're dealing with NPV. Okay, what is the relevant cash flows that must be considered by the organization in appraising a specific project? So what are the relevant cash flows? What are the irrelevant cash flows? You're going to be needing the marginal costing principle to be able to do that calculation. Right. Come to budgeting and budgetary control. Under budgeting and budgetary control, which is another fundamental area, you will have to know about both the absorption costing principle and sometimes an activity-based costing principle in that particular case, because when we are preparing budgets, overheads must be absorbed, and the overheads may be absorbed using either the absorption costing or the marginal costing, and it is important you understand these very well. So what I'm trying to tell you then is that, let's say you're writing management accounting, these fundamental principles, you cannot go overboard. You cannot say that I am weak in them, because whatever topic that you are going to be covering later on in relation to management accounting, you would have to come back and make reference to these principles to position you to pass the examination. So as we are in the 6th week and 6 more weeks to go, you have to ensure that these fundamental principles solid. Then by now, for instance, in our main class here, we are on the short-term decisions. We've done break-even analysis. We've spoken about limiting factor. We've spoken about throughput accounting. We've spoken about relevant cost analysis. And possibly we'll be going into make or buy and pricing decision and wrapping up with them this week in that particular case. And that's how the journey has been so far. And you have to be able to position yourself in that manner so you can ultimately pass the examination at the end of the day. Not only that, let's say you are writing the good old day financial reporting, as a student, or let's say you're writing corporate reporting. 6 weeks have gone. What have you covered so far? Again, it depends on your study plan. It depends on your study structure. It depends on the way you are studying. But by now, you are expected to have covered a significant portion of the syllabus, maybe like 45% or 50% of the syllabus. Let's take financial reporting, for instance. Conceptual framework for general purpose financial statements. That's a very fundamental issue that you need to understand. Definitely, you know that the examiner may be excited about it, so you will have an ethics question. For financial reporting, the examiner may be excited or not excited about ethics, but by now, you should be able to know the various issues about code of ethics. Then you come to the issue relating to evaluation of financial statements. Evaluation of financial statement. It is something that you have to be really mindful of and know about generally to be able to position yourself. Then you come to the IFRSs. IFRS, like you know already, that's 40 marks for financial reporting students. 40, because you're going to get a dedicated 20-mark question on the IFRSs separately or individually. Then you're going to get a 20-mark question on the final account, where you are supposed to prepare statement of profit and loss and other comprehensive income, statement of financial position, as well as the statement of changes in equity or the cash flow statement. So that is a 20-mark area. But even if we are preparing the financial statement, one thing that you need to understand is that we will be referring to the accounting standards. Why? Because each footnote is actually an accounting standard at the end of the day. Each footnote, it's an accounting standard. So to be able to know how to treat the footnotes very well, it is important that you understand how to deal with the accounting standards in that particular case. That is the deal there. So IFRS, you have to be strong. Then later on, you can talk about consolidated financial statement. And in the financial reporting class, one of the areas that actually kills students is the accounting standards. But that is one of the areas that kills students a lot. Yes, even though ratio also has its own challenges that sometimes people have problem with, the financial ratios, the international financial reporting standards, is also an area that really have a lot of effect on students at the end of the day. So you have to be mindful of this, because that is how you position yourself. Now, if you're writing, so 6 weeks, you might have done this. This is a fundamental issue. You might have done this, you might have done this, and possibly you have started with looking at some of the standards generally in that particular case. You have to be looking at the standards in that particular case, because there are 6 more weeks to go. Then that's how you can position yourself to ultimately pass the examination. Finally, say you are doing corporate reporting. All right. By now, what the heck should you have done? Certainly, you should have done ethics. No, it's there. All other things being equal, that's a 10-mark area in the exam hall. Second, you should have done ratios, evaluation of financial statements. If the examiner is excited, 20 marks. If he's not excited, he will give you 15 marks. You should have done that. Number 3 is you should have been able to do probably business valuation, and then financial reconstruction, corporate reorganization as well. One of these will be in the exam hall. That's a 15-mark area. Done deal. Done deal. Then possibly you have then looked at the IFRSs, because this is a 30% or 30-mark area that will come in the exam hall. And in the level 3, there are basic standards that we need to be aware of. That is IFRS 9, financial instruments, IFRS 2, share-based payment, IAS 19, employee benefit, and if you want, IFRS 8, operating segment or segment reporting in that particular case. That is the idea. That's where you have to be now. Now, this is in addition to all the standards in FR. Okay, this is in addition to all the standards in FR. The IAS 16, IAS 20, IAS 23, IAS 37, all the standards in level 2 will be applicable inclusive of this if you're in corporate reporting. So the workload in corporate reporting here, when it comes to the standards, it's a little bit extended, because even with the standards that I've mentioned, there's a level of measure that the examiner could be excited about when it comes to the ultimate questions in the exam hall. Then certainly you know your final part is going to be consolidated financial statements, which is going to be question 1. If you pay attention closely, you realize that whether I'm in FR or I'm in corporate reporting, consolidated financial statement is always the final part. Because one thing that I've seen over the years, over a decade of me being in this game, is that, you know, students spend significant portion of their study time looking at a consolidated financial statement, which is just a 20-mark area. It's just a 20-mark area in question 1. But they spend significant portion of time on it than they are supposed to spend. And they leave the 80% or 80-mark portion of the exam hall for no reason. For no reason. Now, I'm not saying don't learn console. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying that Do not really focus and spend a lot of time on it when you have a lot of options available. And the chief examiner's report over the years has also indicated this, that students are able to do well in the question one, which is the consolidated financial statement, but ultimately fail the examination at the end of the day because they start with a consolidated financial statement. They start working themselves out only to realize that they have spent more time than required. Technically, you're supposed to spend 36 minutes on that 20-mark question because it is 1.8 minutes for 1 mark. Each mark is 1.8 minutes. So 20 mark, you're supposed to spend 36 minutes at the end of the day. But people end up spending over an hour on the consolidated financial statement, and they have still not been able to even either balance the financial statement of financial position or even treat all the transactions. So you have to put yourself in that position where you don't spend all your time on the consolidated financial statement, ignoring that 80% area that you could really get a lot of free marks on to position you to ultimately pass the examination. So that is what you need to understand. That is what you need to understand. So 6 more weeks to go. Technically, it means you now left with some of the standards and consolidation. 6 more weeks to go. Again, you are left with some of the standards and consolidation. So whether you're in corporate reporting or financial reporting, in the next 6 weeks, that is what you are left with. And the reason I'm telling you this ultimately, it's because you have to be able to study on your own. Yes, you are attending lectures, but you need to have time to study on your own as well. That is why you will need a study plan generally at the end of the day. That is why you need a study plan. And there is a video on how you can prepare your study plan on the YouTube channel. So those of you watching on YouTube, or if you are watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, you can come to the YouTube channel, check our how-to page, and you'll be able to ultimately get access to the study plan video to be able to prepare your study plan. If you're attending lectures, you need to have time to study on your own. But this is where a lot of people actually fall, and this is where a lot of people make mistakes. Now, there are some people who are attending lectures but don't even have time in the course of the week to open their books and do anything. And they are like, yo, I'm busy and da 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 da, they are this, they are that. But you want to go write the exams and pass the examination ultimately at the end of the day. But that is not going to work. What you study in class is not enough. What you study in class, greater percentage of the time, is explaining principles and concepts to you. So it means you need to sit down on your own, practice a lot of questions, go deeper than what has been studied in the class so that you can position yourself to pass the examination. That is the idea. So that is why you have to understand the structure of the syllabus, the structure of the examination, so that you can really see the things that you have to focus on so you can pass the examination. And for those of you who are not attending lectures, that is not even good. Because like I say always, if you put 10 people in a room to self-study to go write the ICA examination, maybe 1 out of the 10 will pass the exams. Because many people do not even understand the structure of the syllabus. Many people don't know the scope of the syllabus. Many people don't know what goes into the examination and what will be entailed in each of the section of the exam or questions on the exam paper. And these are the things that actually adds up to ensure that either you pass the exam or you fail the exam at the end of the day. And that is one thing that you must understand. So, doing self-study, I wouldn't advise that. Make sure you attend lectures, definitely. If you're attending lectures, the evening lecture or morning lecture or whatever the heck lecture you attend, it's not the only place or it's not the only time you study. Because I've had that a long time. Like I said, I've been in the game for over a decade, and so I've seen a lot. I wouldn't say I've seen everything, but I've seen a lot where, people come for lectures and they don't even remember what the heck was studied last week. Because after the class, they just close the book and au revoir, messieurs. After lectures, they close the book and au revoir, messieurs. That attitude will make you have a miserable experience for the examination. And the beauty of the thing is that some of you are still here, you are waiting. In that particular case, I don't know, but I'm hearing, let's see. It says, sir, please, can you increase the volume of the microphone? No volume, sir. Can't hear anything. Are you sure? Is my sound bad? Because I think I'm monitoring my sound here and my sound is good. I'm monitoring my sound here and my sound is out. So if you say no volume, blessing, mania, I don't know. Is it your device? Is it your device or something like that? Because I don't think my sound is uh that low in that case. Let me know if a lot of people are facing that challenge about the sound. Because I think my sound is up pretty well. But as two people have commented, I don't know if. Yeah, I think my sound is Apple. So maybe you can check your devices, Joshua Kwame and Blessing Maya. You can check your devices because my sound is up. And okay, so Wisdom Akwesi is saying it's fine here. All right, so Blessing, you can check your devices. You can check your device, and then Joshua, you can also check your device. In that case, because I think my sound it's good in that regard. Yeah, possibly maybe a little bit low. I don't know. I can only see you demonstrating, but no volume. Oh yeah, so check your device. In that case, give me a sec. Let me see if I can just put this on the screen for her. Check your device. All right, so you check your device because my sound is up in that regard. My sound may be a little bit lower than the ordinary because I'm on a new microphone and there is still a setup that I need to do, but it's still great that you can hear in that case. Charlene, as someone said, your sound is fine here. Yeah, so it's good. So you can just check your device. Right. So that is what you need to understand. Don't wait 2 weeks to the exam before you start studying. Don't wait because that is a challenge. That is a challenge that a lot of people are going to be facing. This is my take. I believe that if you sit for the exam, you should be able to pass the exams. That's my take. The reason why I have that take is because of the fact that you know the structure of the syllabus. You know exactly the topics the examiner is going to be asking questions on. Unless otherwise, I don't know, but question one, if you're in financial reporting, you know what the heck is going to be there. Question two, you know what is going to be there. Question three, you know what is going to be there. Four, you know what is going to be there. If you're doing public sector accounting and finance, the same thing. You know what is going to be in question one. You know what is going to be in question two. You know what is going to be question three. So if you understand the structure of the syllabus and know the structure of the examination, it means certainly you cannot fail the exam if you structure your studies in that line. If you structure your studies in that line, you cannot fail the exams. But if you just go in and boom, after the lectures, you close the book and yeah, busy mommy, busy daddy, no studying, no nothing, and you expect to write the exams and pass, I can guarantee you, you will fail. And that is one of the things because some of you jump from one tuition center to another. Hey, I've heard about this tuition center, then you go. See, many of the time, it's not just the tuition center, you are the problem. Because your laziness and your inability to sit down to study is causing you to fail the exams. Because at most, what the heck can the tuition center do? Teach you, provide you with the blueprints, give you the guidelines, lecture you, give you content. So if you go and you don't study on your own and you think that all that is all that there is what has been taught in class, then you're going to fail the exams. You're going to really fail the examination. So what I want you to understand is this. We have 6 more weeks to go. You can do a lot in 6 weeks. Even if you have not been studying, you've not been serious in the last 6 weeks, I believe in the next 6 weeks you can cause a lot of damages if you really put your if you really put effort in and you practice what is called assiduity. It means you sit your ass down and study. That is assiduity. Sit your ass down and study. That's the way to go. It's not necessarily about your tuition center. It's not necessarily about, I've heard about this. And some of you are waiting to take some miserable leave. 2 weeks to the exam. You go and worry your employer. Give me leave. I'm going to write the ICA. Give me leave. You are causing the employer to lose money because your presence is not there. Your workload is going to be missing and they are paying your salary. You go to the exam hall, then you go and fail the exams. Then somebody will say, oh, Shira, I am learning now, but I don't know why I'm failing the exams. Please, you're not learning. You got to change it. Because insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, but expecting different results at the end of the day. That is the thing that you need to understand. Right, so Francis said, the sound is good here. All right, Francis, thank you for the feedback. Lloyd Chimbalanga said, sir, is it possible to pay now and join your lectures for the next sitting? No, it wouldn't be. You can pay and start studying now, but our enrollment is going to be expiring after each examination date. So that is the disadvantage. And if you want to continue to have access to the content for the next sitting, you will be given a discount to be able to do a re-enrollment and have access to the content generally in that particular case. So it's possible to start studying if you want to start studying, but what it means is that on the average you're going to be paying more fees if you go for that route. So for instance, that's just an example, okay? A subject now is 500 Ghana cedis. So you enroll, you can start studying now, but you're not sitting for the July examination. So when we start November's lectures in August, because we will start November's lectures in August, you would have to make an additional payment, not like 500 Ghana cedis, a little below 500 Ghana cedis, to continue to have access to the content and also be able to join the live lectures for the November 2023 examination. So Lloyd, that is the issue in relation to that one there. That is the issue in relation to that. Then let me see. What do I have? Epipod said, but can you increase the volume? No, I cannot. Unfortunately, I cannot. I don't know why the sound is perfect with some people, but not perfect with some people. It means that people have different devices. Definitely, I know that, but like I said earlier, as I was checking here, the sound was okay here from my end, and this is yeah, in that case. So I don't know. Maybe you have to see and do something else about the sound. But I think we should be good. We should be good. Or it is the Android people who are having problem with their sound. Let me check on my Android as well and see if sound is good on the Android. Because really, give me a sec, let me just cross check this. I think this is the first time we are using this setup on the live stream. So, like this sound setup on the live stream. So, possibly we may have some issues, even though we tested everything and everything was perfect. Maybe during production, other things may come up. So, give me a second. Let me see. I want to see the Android people also. No, Android is also loud. So I don't know. Android is also up. So it's your device. Because on my devices, on the two devices I have here, the sound is okay and loud in that case. Okay, a comment coming in from Evelyn Mutuku saying, "Hello, Insurance Premium. Do you offer courses in office admin slash customer care?" No, Evelyn, we don't offer any courses in administration and customer care. We don't offer any courses in these areas. All right. Okay. So, any other questions for me? Any other questions for me? Okay. So, Blessing said the sound is good. I guess it's the devices differently used. Okay. Okay. All right. So once you have been able to sort yourself out, that is great to hear that it was your device and not our sound in that case. Right. So any other questions for me, please put it in the comment section or the chat for me. Any questions you have, something that you would want me to share my thoughts on quickly. Juliet Shelley said, "Sir, please, the sound is perfect." Okay, thank you. Right, so I think it's just maybe some people's devices are not compatible with YouTube or something like that. I don't know. All right, so any questions for me, put it in the comment section, put it in the chat for me, and you know, let me provide you with some answers. So you have to really put yourself in the spot. Like I was saying, I believe that if you sit for the CA examination, you should pass at one sitting. You shouldn't fail the exam. If you study well, you follow guidelines, you study consistently, you should pass the examination. That is it. Because really, when I look at the students who study under my mentorship and I look at the ones that go through the program easily, meaning that like they sit for the exam, they pass, they go. They sit for the exam, they pass, they go. I realize that they are exceptional, meaning that like they really work hard, they really put in the effort. Like because assignment will be given, you got to do the assignment. Performance evaluation test will be done. You have to be part of it. Mock examination will be done. You need to do that. And so the people who over the last decade have really, quickly gone through the program under my mentorship are people who really went the extra mile, who really studied, who really sacrificed and worked hard. And that is what you need to be able to pass the examination. I don't think you should write this exam 2 times, 3 times. It's not, you shouldn't go through that. We don't have time. Time no day. You cannot spend a lot of time like that in that regard. I am from Nigeria writing financial reporting tomorrow morning. I'm proud of your tutorial and confident to write tomorrow. Thank you, sir. Oh, that's great to hear. Blessing Maya. Wishing you all the best in your examination tomorrow and praying for you that you'll be able to do well and pass the examination. We are grateful that the channel had been helpful for you in this period of your studies and really hoping that you go in there and make yourself proud. So all the best in advance and hoping that you'll be able to do well. Make sure that you are, strong in your ratios. Know how to calculate the ratios. Most importantly, do the interpretation. Make sure you're strong in your standards in that particular case. Make sure consolidation, you don't say goodbye to it. And you go in there, you should be able to work hard and pass the examination at the end of the day. So all the best as you go in for your exam. So that's the issue. Because yes, there are challenges, but then if you should work hard, if you should make time available to study, you will pass the exams. Listen, can you promise yourself and commit to yourself that, or commit that you will go in there and pass the examination? It's not just a dream. Okay, it's not just a desire, it's not just a confession. I know some of you will say, yeah, by the grace of God, inshallah, I'll pass the examination. Yes, it's okay. Grace of God is good. We need the anointing and grace of God. But the grace of God does not work for people who don't put in any work, who don't put in any effort. It doesn't work for people like that. Okay, so yes, the grace is get there. Some of you, by the time the exam is getting closer, you are fasting, going to sow seed, going to pour oil on yourself. It's all good. I can't tell you how to worship your God or whatever the heck. It's all good. But you have to understand that, and this is my belief, this is what I have. In the exam hall, there will be angels. There will be angels to be in the exam hall. But the angels will just come to let you recollect what the heck you've studied. God is not a magician. Yes, even though he can create out of thin air, he has to just help you to retain what you have done. So you need to work hard in that particular case. I'm seeing some chats coming in. Please, you didn't say anything about FM. Adam Osman, what do you have for me on FM? What do you have for me on FM? Oh, give me a sec. Electricity Company of Ghana have done their things again. But hey, I'm good. So let's continue quickly. Osman, what would you want me to say about financial reporting? Sorry, financial management. Technically, when it comes to financial management on the overall, there are key issues there also that you have to focus on. Whether I like it or not, in financial management, there is going to be a question on what we call business finance. Oh, give me a sec. So whether I like it or not, in financial management, there will be question on what we call business finance. Now, what the heck is business finance? Business finance is where you see sources of finance. There will be a question on sources of finance and then cost of capital. Whether I like it or not, there's a question on that coming in there. And that means that you're going to be having, cost of equity, KE, okay, KE, cost of debt, KD, and then putting the two together if we have a hybrid finance, weighted average cost of capital. Whether I like it or not, it's going to be there in the exam hall. You cannot overemphasize the importance of this. Number two, there is definitely going to be a question on investment appraisal. So you have to be strong in investment appraisal as well, because it's a done deal area waiting for you in the exam hall. All the appraisal methods, you have to be able to understand them in that particular case. Number three, there will be a question on business valuation. So all the valuation methods, you must know about them. Asset valuation method, dividend valuation method, earnings yield, the cash flow method, and all of those other methods on business valuation and um, you know, those things. You need to understand them very well in that case because question will be there. You know, like you know what is going to be there. Number four, working capital management. That is one of the areas that is really huge. It's a lot. It's one of the voluminous topics in financial management, working capital management. It's a lot. But there will be a question on that, but it's a lot. So if anything, possibly that could be the final topic that you will look at if you're doing your study plan. It could be part of the final topics because there are a lot of things there. You have to look at the working capital on the overall. You have to look at the individual working capital items like inventory, trade receivable, trade payables, then cash flow. There are cash management models that we have to know about generally in that particular case. Then the last thing there is going to be, risk management. But remember, there are theory areas in financial management like the financial environment, the introductory issues. Those are theory or reading areas. So, like FM also, we know everything that is going to be there. It's going to be there. Take the past questions. You will see all the questions are from these areas. But the question is, you must understand the principles. Okay, you must know all the principles about cost of capital calculation. If you are calculating KE, how do you use the capital asset pricing model? How do you use the dividend model? Under what circumstance can we use the capital asset pricing model or the dividend model? If you are doing KD, you must know KD before tax, KD after tax. If you are doing weighted average cost of capital, you must know the principles that underline it. Investment appraisal, there are a lot of methods available. Aside that, you have to look at asset replacement. You have to look at sensitivity analysis. You must understand the principles underlining each of these topics because in the exam hall, you are going to be applying the principle. So Adam, that's FM. Everything is going to be there. But you have to spend time to understand the principle. Everything in the exam is about application. All you are doing in the exam hall is applying principles in that particular case. Lloyd said, in that case, if I pay now, can I have all the videos and materials when it has expired so that I can be watching and studying whilst I'm waiting for the November exams? Lloyd, like I said, enrollment ends after the examination. So after each examination died, you will not get access again. Automatically, the system will shut you out. And so, like I said, if you want a continuous access, then you would have to make a payment so that you'll be able, not necessarily like the 500 that you pay now for enrollment, but you pay a reduced fee to get continuous access as you wait for the live lectures to continue in that particular case. So you can send us a message on WhatsApp. You can see our WhatsApp number scrolling below the screen. And you can send a message on WhatsApp and you'll be assisted. Stan Obi said, thanks N Premium for your video lectures. I passed FR in ACCA. Wow, that's excellent. I will be writing AA on 5th June 2023. I really appreciate all you do. That's great to hear, Stan Obi. I remember that you really was joining our live lectures, and congratulations on that. Wishing you the best on AA. I believe that audit and assurance, you have been studying well, because when it comes to audit and assurance, also there are key areas that you have to focus on. You must understand the concept of the following. Audit risk, very important. You must know that very well. Business risk, it's very important you understand that. Audit procedures and audit evidence is very important that you understand that. Then audit reporting is very important you understand this. Then some introductory aspects, but whether I like it or not, there's a question waiting for you on one of these guys, audit risks or business risks. One of them is waiting for you. For audit procedure, is done deal. Maybe it depends. The examiner can ask you to talk about whatever, inventory, provisions, what else? Trade receivables, trade payables, write the audit procedures on these things. Then you come to audit reporting. You know that you're not going to be writing the audit report, but the examiner could ask you questions about audit reporting, going concern issues, and all that are questions that the examiner can throw at you that you have to be mindful of as you go into the examination. So, wishing you all the best on 5th June, Stan, as you go in there for the examination. Augustine Raymond said, Sir, please, what advice will you give to those who are offering first degree in accounting in relation to ICAG certificates? Who are offering first degree in accounting in relation to ICAG certificate? Augustine, I don't get the context of your question. Like, I don't understand. Those who are offering first degree in accounting in relation to ICAG certificates. I don't get a context. Augustine, maybe if you're still online, give me some specific, like maybe give me some further, provide me some further info. Let me understand what you're trying to say here. Yes, sir, studying is really hard work. Thank you for your admonishment. Okay, oh Juliet. So Augustine, please provide me with something specific here. I don't really understand the context of the question well, so that I can see if I can provide you with some answers in that case. Okay, Adam Osman said, thank you, sir. Okay, always a pleasure. So Augustine, let me know real quick on that one. Okay. So that is it about that. I will be wrapping up around here today for our discussion. And on Wednesday, I'll be coming on for another stream because we are really putting aside some time to ensure that I come on as we usually have some time on with you here. So I'm going to be coming on Wednesday, God willing. Make sure that in case you have not downloaded our mobile application, you download, because we're going to be having some exclusive content right there in the mobile application to really help you to pass the examination in that particular case. So thanks for joining, and really excited, and I appreciate you joining us on the stream. And God willing, Wednesday I will catch you same time as we continue with our discussion. Stay safe and stay blessed.